Every 4 minutes, somewhere in the UK, a car disappears. While you sit here watching this video, 2 more will vanish. That sounds like random crime, right? Joyriders, bored teenagers, one-off chances. It isn't. What's really happening on Britain's streets is a billion-pound international operation, a silent conveyor belt feeding stolen vehicles into one of the most sophisticated criminal networks you've never heard of. And tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how deep it goes. We're going to follow one car. Just one. A Range Rover Sport, parked on a quiet, expensive London street. By the time we're finished, you'll see how that single vehicle travels from a peaceful Hampstead driveway to the hands of a buyer thousands of miles away. No smashed glass, no hot wiring, no car chase. And you'll understand why the people who could stop this have every reason to keep you in the dark. Every 4 minutes in Britain, another car vanishes. Last year alone, that was 129,000. 159 vehicles gone. Not misplaced, not towed, stolen. But here's what almost nobody tells you. Most of these cars aren't stripped for parts in a grimy lockup. They aren't flogged to a bloke down the pub. They're being shipped thousands of miles away, laundered through legitimate-looking paperwork, and absorbed into a global shadow industry. Let me show you exactly how it starts. Tuesday night, 2:47 a.m. Hampstead, London. Our £80,000 Range Rover Sport sits on a driveway, silent, locked, and, as its owner thinks, safe. 2 men arrive. No masks, no hoodies pulled tight, no running, no drama. They walk like they belong there, because that's part of the trick. This level of crime doesn't look like crime at all. Criminal number 1 stands by the front door. Criminal number 2 strolls over to the Range Rover, parked about 40 meters away. Inside the house, upstairs, the key is in a bedside drawer. The owner is asleep. The dog is asleep. The street is quiet. In criminal number 1's hand is a relay device. It scans the house for the key's signal, captures it, amplifies it, and transmits it to his partner by the car. The Range Rover receives a perfectly valid key signal and does exactly what it was designed to do. It unlocks, starts, and drives away. As far as the car is concerned, its owner is right there behind the wheel. This isn't theory. This is the exact method used by Muhammad Ahmed, Muhammad Ali, Kabir Ahmed, and Paul Barringer, 4 men recently sentenced at Snaresbrook Crown Court. They stole more than 100 vehicles, worth over £1.7 million, using precisely this technique. Metropolitan Police surveillance footage shows their work in chilling detail. Ahmed stands casually at a victim's front door. Ali approaches a £45,000 BMW. 23 seconds later, that car is gone. No alarms, no glass, no noise, just gone. For the owners, it's not just a statistic. Take Lola Matthews, a nurse from Ealing. She woke up on a Tuesday morning and her £38,000 Ford Cougar had vanished from her driveway. "I thought I was going crazy," she told me. She walked the street, convinced she'd parked it somewhere else. 6 months later, she's still fighting her insurance company. They've denied her claim twice, blaming insufficient security measures because she used a keyless entry system, the very feature Ford advertised as a premium safety upgrade. On Lola's street alone, 7 cars have been stolen this year. Neighbors have spent thousands on extra locks, cameras, gates. Property values are slipping. Their community WhatsApp group has turned into a 24/7 crime watch, pinging with grainy CCTV clips and warnings. And while they're doing everything they can to protect themselves, our Range Rover is already on the move. By 4 a.m., while Lola and thousands like her still sleep, our Range Rover is already a ghost. The theft itself took less than half a minute. The next phase is all about speed and invisibility. This is what most people don't understand about modern car theft. Time is the enemy. Professional gangs operate on what they call the 24-hour rule. From the moment the car leaves the driveway, they have less than a day to get it into a shipping container and out of the country before police systems ANPR cameras, and insurance alerts begin to catch up. At 4 a.m., our Range Rover is circling London on the M25. Just another vehicle in the early morning traffic. No sirens, no pursuit. Its number plates haven't even been reported yet. By 6 a.m., it's heading towards Dover. Somewhere between service stations and motorway exits, the identity of the car is already changing. False plates, cloned registrations, maybe even a spoofed V. The goal is simple. By the time anyone notices it's missing, it's no longer legally the same car. At around 7 a.m., the Range Rover rolls into Dover port. Cameras record it, barriers lift, and it moves into the maze of freight lanes. On paper, nothing looks unusual. It's just part of Britain's daily export machine. By 7:15 a.m., the vehicle is inside shipping container MSKU7 439821, scheduled to leave on the 9:30 a.m. ferry to Calais. The doors slam shut. For the outside world, the Range Rover has effectively ceased to exist. Here's the part that should really worry you. The paperwork looks completely legitimate. There's an export license, a vehicle registration transfer, customs documentation, and a bill of lading. Every form is stamped, every field filled in. The names of the companies involved may be real, fake, or hijacked from unsuspecting businesses. The documents could stand up to a casual inspection because that's exactly what they're designed to do. This is crime hiding in plain sight, dressed up as bureaucracy. To understand how professional this is, look at a real case dismantled just last year. In Surrey, 4 men were running what police described as a £1 million car crime operation from an anonymous industrial unit in Woking. On September 26, 2024, at Brighton Magistrates Court, the gang leaders were sentenced. Their business model was brutally efficient. They bought stolen cars, brought them to the unit, and systematically dismantled them. They weren't joyriders. They were processors. Over 200 vehicles a year moved through that facility, with an estimated turnover of £1.2 million. Each car was completely erased, stripped for parts, crushed, or repackaged, then exported through legitimate shipping networks. Most of the parts left the UK within 48 hours of arrival. A vehicle could go from driveway to untraceable fragments in less time than it takes many owners to get through to their insurance company's call center. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The Surrey gang was small fry. They were a regional cog in a much larger machine. If guys in a Woking warehouse can quietly process millions of pounds in stolen metal, imagine what the real players, the ones pulling the strings across continents, are doing. Our Range Rover, sealed inside MSKUS7 439821, isn't heading to a backstreet chop shop or some shady local buyer. It's at the start of an international journey that will reveal just how big, how organized, and how protected this industry really is. Inside that steel box at Dover, our Range Rover looks like a trapped animal. But in the criminal world, it's just inventory, one asset in a vast, carefully managed portfolio. Because this isn't just about a few gangs nicking cars and getting lucky. This is about an international system, a web of syndicates operating with military-style efficiency and corporate-level planning. To see the scale of it, you have to meet one of the major players. They're called Black Axe. They began in Nigeria, but today their influence stretches across more than 50 countries. They're not just car thieves. They run cyber fraud networks, human trafficking operations, violent enforcement crews, and money laundering pipelines that move cash across borders faster than banks do. Car theft is simply one revenue stream in a multi-billion-pound empire, a dependable line item on a criminal balance sheet. According to Interpol files, Black Axe divides their operations into zones, geographical territories with quotas for different types of crime. The UK is designated as Zone 7. Their estimated annual target for car theft alone? 15,000 vehicles. That's not an accident. That's a number someone in a room decided on, and then built a system to hit. Oluken Ponley, Samson Oluwatobi, Michael Olaruni. These names might not mean anything to you, but they are not petty crooks. They run highly sophisticated international operations built on encrypted communications, shell companies, and layers of deniability. Below them sits a network of fixers, technicians, corrupt port officials, and document forgers. Their influence reaches into shipping companies, customs agencies, and in some cases, even law enforcement. When a container like MSQ7439821 moves, it's moving through channels they've spent years cultivating. And it's not just African syndicates. In June 2024, Essex police took down what they called the largest car theft ring in eastern England. This gang was led by 3 Georgian nationals, David Nakashidze, George Abzandadze, and Reyes Mumladze. On the surface, they ran a legitimate car parts business in Braintree. To neighbors and customers, it looked like any other breaker's yard supplying engines, gearboxes, and panels. Behind the roller shutters, the reality was very different. They were processing between 50 and 60 stolen vehicles every single month. In just 18 months, the total value of those cars exceeded £3.2 million. The 3 men were eventually sentenced to a combined total of more than 33 years in prison. But here's the detail that matters. Their operation was just one cell. Police intelligence suggests they were part of a wider network linking Lithuania, Poland, Albania, and the UK. Vehicles stolen in Britain could be broken for parts in one country, rebuilt in another, registered in a third, and sold in a fourth. Each border crossed, each document stamped, stripped away another layer of risk for the people at the top. This is the world our Range Rover has been sucked into. It's no longer a stolen car. It's a commodity moving along established routes, protected by corruption, fake paperwork, and the sheer volume of international trade. Before I show you where that container is really headed, and why the trail seems to vanish once it leaves British waters, you need to understand something else. The people running this industry aren't hiding in the shadows, under bridges. They're sitting behind desks, using laptops, managing spreadsheets, and exploiting the blind spots of a global system that was never designed to stop them. And that's where our story gets even darker. Container MSQ7439821 doesn't care about borders. By mid-morning, it's on the ferry from Dover to Calais, just one anonymous steel box among hundreds. On the manifest, it might be listed as used machinery, farm equipment, or generic automotive parts. From Calais, it moves overland to Rotterdam, Europe's largest port, a city of cranes, containers, and constant motion. Here, our Range Rover is transferred again, swallowed by a vast ship loaded for West Africa, the declared destination, Tema Port, Ghana. But Ghana is not the end of the road. It's the hub. From Tema, a whole network radiates across West and Central Africa. Some vehicles are driven straight off the docks and sold locally. Others are hidden, replated, or broken down for parts before being shipped again across borders that are easy to cross and hard to police. Our Range Rover is on an 18-day journey from a London driveway to a place where it will be reborn as something legitimate. According to the National Vehicle Crime Intelligence Service, authorities have seen a 29% increase in vehicles identified at British ports in just the second quarter of 2024 alone. That sounds like progress, until you hear the next line. They only intercept about 3% of stolen vehicles before export. 3%. The rest sail on, unchallenged. Nearly 40% of the stolen cars intercepted at British ports between 2021 and 2024 were destined for the Democratic Republic of Congo. With its central location and access to seaports, the DRC has become a perfect distribution hub for vehicles moving across the continent. While our Range Rover is rolling across the ocean, let's talk about how we got here. Car theft used to be crude. In the 1,990 seconds, thieves broke windows, jimmied locks, and hot-wired ignitions. Average theft time, 5 to 7 minutes. It was messy, noisy, and risky. Then, in the 2000s, immobilizers and more advanced alarm systems arrived. Ironically, they didn't stop theft, they just changed it. Stealing a car now took 10 to 15 minutes and required specialized tools and knowledge. Then came keyless entry in the 2010 seconds. The feature sold as the height of modern convenience and safety. Walk up to your car, touch the handle, drive away. No key in the ignition, no fumbling. Manufacturers pushed it as progress. Criminals saw something else, an unlocked back door. Relay attacks like the one used on our Range Rover could defeat these systems in under 30 seconds. No broken glass, no alarms, just a clean, quiet handover. As security improved, criminal methods evolved again. Now we're seeing so-called bus attacks, where thieves hack directly into the car's internal computer network, the CAN bus, injecting their own messages to unlock doors and start engines. Some 2024 models, crammed with software and connectivity, but built on rushed security, are actually easier to steal than solid, simple cars from the 1990 seconds. Dr. James Henderson from Birmingham University's Cybersecurity Institute told me, modern cars are essentially computers on wheels. They have the same vulnerabilities as any connected device, but with much weaker security protocols. In other words, your £60,000 SUV might be less secure than your email account. To understand how far this has gone, look at the Coventry gang convicted in February 2024. 5 men, led by Sean Farrell and Jamie Asher, stole nearly £1 million worth of vehicles using what police described as military-grade electronic equipment. When officers raided their base, they found over £50,000 worth of gear, signal amplifiers, frequency scanners, diagnostic computers capable of bypassing almost any security system built before 2023. Among their victims was a disabled war veteran. His adapted BMW fitted with specialist controls so he could drive was taken from his driveway while he slept inside the house. His insurance company initially refused the claim, arguing that the disability modifications made the car non-standard and therefore not properly covered. For the thieves, it was just another successful operation. For him, it was independence, dignity, and mobility stolen in seconds. And remember, this isn't random chaos. It's organized, structured, and profitable. If you think this all sounds chaotic, like a swarm of unconnected crooks swiping cars whenever they get the chance, you're giving them too little credit. Modern car theft doesn't behave like a hobby or a side hustle. It behaves like a corporation. At the very bottom of the structure are the runners. These are usually teenagers or young men with something to prove and not much to lose. They're the ones physically taking the cars off driveways and out of supermarket car parks. For each vehicle, they might earn between £200 and £500. To them, it feels like fast money for a few minutes' work. To the people higher up, they're expendable. If the police catch anyone, it'll be the runner, not the man paying him. Just above them sit the scouts. Think of them as the sales and research team. Their job is to identify high-value targets long before a theft ever happens. They scroll through social media, hunting for posts showing new cars, house fronts, street signs. They look at property records, business listings, even dating apps to figure out who lives where, what they drive, and how easy it might be to access. Scouts earn a more stable income, £1,000 to £2,000 a month, sometimes with bonuses for especially desirable vehicles. New Range Rovers, BMWs, Mercedes, high-spec SUVs. Then you have the technical specialists. These are the ones holding the relay devices, the diagnostic laptops, the CAN bus hacking tools that can turn a locked car into a drivable one in under a minute. Some of them are self-taught electronics obsessives. Others are ex-mechanics, ex-dealership staff, even former security engineers. They don't work for one gang. They freelance across networks, selling their skills to whoever can pay. For them, every successful operation can mean £5,000 to £10,000. They are the highest paid people in the field, because without them, the entire system grinds to a halt. And at the very top are the coordinators. They rarely go near a stolen vehicle. They don't stand by front doors at 2:47 a.m. or carry containers through ports. They sit behind encrypted phones and laptops, coordinating runners, scouts, and tech experts across multiple cities and even countries. They control the shipping routes, the shell companies, the corrupt officials. From car theft alone, some of these coordinators can make more than £500,000 a year. This pyramid isn't unique to Britain. Almost identical structures have been uncovered in Europe, North America, and Australia. The details change: different ports, different makes of car, different brand names on the warehouses. But the business logic is the same. Minimize risk at the top, push it downwards, and move stock as quickly as possible. Police forces across Britain are struggling to keep up. One detective chief inspector from West Midlands Police told me, "We're seeing methods we've never encountered before. By the time we understand one technique, they've moved to the next. For every relay device seized, a more advanced one appears. For every gang dismantled, another steps into the gap, using the same routes, the same corrupt contacts, the same blind spots in international trade." In response, law enforcement agencies have started forming multinational task forces. Europol's Operation Archimedes, for example, has led to more than 1,000 arrests across 15 countries in the past 2 years. In July 2024, a joint operation between UK, Dutch, and Belgian authorities intercepted 127 stolen vehicles at Rotterdam port with a combined value of £6.2 million. Those were the lucky ones, the tip of a very large iceberg. So, here's the question that should be echoing in your head right now. If this is a billion-pound industry, operating in plain sight, touching insurance companies, car manufacturers, shipping firms, and global ports, why don't you hear about it more often? The answer has nothing to do with a lack of evidence, and everything to do with who benefits from your silence. On paper, this should be front-page news. A billion-pound black market, tens of thousands of victims, organized crime crossing continents, but most of the time, it barely makes a ripple. That's not an accident. There are powerful institutions that quietly profit from this crisis, and they have every reason to keep the story buried. Start with insurance companies. They sell you peace of mind, pay your premium, sleep easy, you're covered. But when you're £30,000, £40,000, £60,000, car disappears in 23 seconds, that promise suddenly comes with a lot of small print. The average claim for a stolen vehicle takes around 6 months to resolve. Some never pay out at all. In the meantime, your premiums keep flowing in. Leaked internal documents from a major UK insurer show that they reject about 34% of keyless car theft claims on technicalities. That could mean keys stored too close to the front door, failure to use additional security devices, or even ambiguous wording about parking locations. One internal memo spells it out coldly. Customer failure to use additional security measures provides legal grounds for claim denial. In other words, the technology they promoted as convenient and safe becomes the excuse to avoid paying you. In high-risk areas, parts of Birmingham, Manchester, London, premiums have risen by up to 180% in just 2 years. Insurance companies collected an extra £340 million in premiums last year alone, directly linked to increasing car theft rates. The worse the problem gets, the more money they bring in. Behind those numbers are real people. Take Joshua Anderson, a teacher from Wolverhampton whose £42,000 Audi was stolen using the relay method. His insurer, LV Equals, denied his claim because he kept his keys in a dish near the front door, exactly where most people keep them. For over 14 months he's been fighting that decision, paying around £8,000 in legal fees, taking time off work for hearings, and still hasn't seen a penny. Meanwhile, the finance company still wants its monthly payments for a car he no longer has. The stress has hammered his family, forced them to move, and nearly cost him his job when he couldn't reliably get to work. Then there are the car manufacturers. keyless systems, connected dashboards, remote start. These features are worth billions in marketing and sales. Admitting that the technology is fundamentally vulnerable would mean recalls, retrofits, and lawsuits. So instead, they manage the risk quietly. Leaked documents from a major German car maker show they've known about relay vulnerabilities since at least 2018. Their own risk assessment estimated it would cost £2.4 billion to retrofit existing vehicles with proper security. Paying compensation for stolen cars, on the other hand, was projected at just £180 million. Their internal memo concluded, financial exposure from theft claims is significantly lower than retrofit costs. In plain English, it's cheaper to let your car be stolen and occasionally pay you off than it is to fix the problem properly. The shipping industry is no cleaner. Ports like Rotterdam process over 15 million containers a year. Slowing down to verify what's actually inside each one would hurt profits. Officials admit they physically inspect less than 2% of outgoing containers. For vehicle exports, that drops to around 0.3%. Former customs officer Marcus Vanderberg, who worked at Rotterdam for 12 years, told me, everyone knew certain shipping companies were moving stolen vehicles, but they generated millions in port fees. Nobody wanted to ask too many questions. He showed me examples of fraudulent manifests where stolen UK cars were declared as agricultural machinery or construction equipment. The paperwork polished and professional. And then there's the media. Investigating systemic failures in the automotive and insurance industries is expensive, risky work. But car companies spend over £1.2 billion a year on advertising in the UK. Insurance firms add another £800 million. For many outlets, these are their biggest clients. You don't bite the hand that feeds you, so the story stays small. Presented as isolated thefts, unfortunate victims, local crime, not as what it really is, a global economy of stolen metal. But while the public stays in the dark, the criminals are already preparing their next move. Because the tools they're using today, relay devices, CAN bus hacks, are just the beginning of a new arms race. Right now, the criminals are winning, but they know something you don't. This version of the game is almost over. The tools they're using today, relay devices, cloned keys, laptop hacks, are just the first chapter. The next phase of car theft looks less like a crowbar in the night and more like a tech startup gone rogue. Crime syndicates are already developing AI-powered key cloning systems. Imagine software that can analyze encrypted data from your car, predict patterns, and generate a working digital key faster than a human could type a password. Alongside that, they're experimenting with deepfake voice systems, convincing imitations of your voice, used to call dealerships or manufacturers, pretending to be you, and requesting replacement keys or remote access codes. Add in the looming threat of quantum computing, capable eventually of smashing through current encryption standards, and you start to see where this is heading. Intelligence sources say major crime organizations are investing millions in research and development. This isn't some guy in a shed tinkering with electronics. These groups are hiring former tech industry professionals, cybersecurity experts, even ex-military communications specialists. They're building R&D teams the way legitimate companies do. Only their product is a faster, quieter, more profitable way to steal what you think is safe. But technology cuts both ways. On the defensive side, car manufacturers and security firms are quietly racing to close the gap. Blockchain-based vehicle tracking promises tamper-proof logs of where a car has been and who has accessed it. Satellite-enabled kill switches can remotely disable a vehicle if its movement pattern looks suspicious. AI-powered behavioral analysis can learn your driving habits, where you go, how you accelerate, how you brake and flag anything that doesn't fit. BMW and Mercedes are already secretly testing biometric authentication systems that require continuous driver verification. Not just a fingerprint at the start, but ongoing checks, seat pressure, steering patterns, even in-cabin cameras analyzing who's behind the wheel. If the system thinks the driver isn't authorized, It can alert police in real time and, if necessary, safely shut the car down. Law enforcement is evolving too. New treaties between the UK, EU, and several African nations are tightening export loopholes and sharing intelligence more quickly. Instead of treating each stolen car as a local incident, investigators are following the containers, the bank transfers, the encrypted messages. We're already seeing glimpses of what that future looks like. In January 2024, Staffordshire Police completed a major investigation that led to 15 convictions and the recovery of more than £2 million worth of stolen vehicles. Their approach was different: proactive, intelligence-led policing. Rather than waiting for cars to vanish and forms to be filed, they identified networks before they fully formed, tracked the flow of vehicles and money, and moved in early. They also worked closely with insurance companies not to block payouts, but to share data and make sure legitimate claims were handled quickly, so victims weren't punished twice. The ultimate weapon on the horizon is quantum encryption security protocols that are, in practical terms, impossible to break using current or near-future methods. Jaguar Land Rover is already testing quantum-secured key fobs designed to make relay attacks theoretically impossible. Security experts I've spoken to predict a massive disruption in criminal methods within the next 18 months. The techniques that are devastating owners right now, relay thefts, bus attacks, could suddenly become obsolete. Economic analysts go further. By 2027, they predict the international stolen car trade could collapse by as much as 80%. On paper, that's a win. In reality, it comes with a chilling side effect. Criminals don't retire because one revenue stream dries up. Intelligence analysts expect them to pivot to more violent methods: carjackings, home invasions, direct confrontations with owners. The quiet, almost invisible theft we've been seeing may give way to something much more dangerous. Somewhere far from London, our Range Rover is now rolling through the streets of Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's worth around £15,000 to its new owner, who has no idea it was ever stolen. To him, it's just a car with paperwork, keys, and a story. But cases like this: silent theft, quiet export, clean sale, may soon become impossible. And when that happens, the battleground won't disappear. It will just move closer to your front door. So where does all this leave you? Standing on your driveway tonight, staring at a car that suddenly feels a lot more vulnerable than it did an hour ago. You are not powerless. While corporations drag their feet and criminals innovate, there are simple, brutally effective steps you can take right now to make your car the one they walk past. First, deal with the biggest weakness: your key. If you have keyless entry, your key is constantly whispering to your car, "I'm here." Relay thieves just amplify that whisper. The easiest way to shut them out is to block the signal. That doesn't require a £500 security system. It can be as simple as a signal blocking pouch or even a metal container. Yes, biscuit tins work. Here's how you test it. Put your key in the tin or pouch. Walk up to your car and try to unlock it. If the doors stay locked, you've broken the relay chain. I worked with a security consultant to test 12 different signal blocking methods. The most effective was a £10 Faraday pouch from Amazon. It blocked 100% of signal transmission attempts. Police surveillance footage shows criminals trying relay attacks, getting nothing, and just walking away. They don't stick around to troubleshoot. They move to the easier target down the road. Next, make the car itself an unattractive job. Steering wheel locks might look old school, but that's exactly why they work. Professional gangs want clean, quiet, 23-second thefts. A brightly colored physical lock means noise, time, and power tools. Criminologists who have analyzed over 500 theft attempts found that visible physical deterrents reduce theft attempts by around 73%. Thieves actively avoid cars that look like work. They're running a business, and time is money. Think beyond the car, too. Motion-activated lights, visible cameras, and driveway alarms all create what security experts call defensive space. You want any thief approaching your property to feel exposed and rushed. Professional criminals operate on simple risk calculations. If a car looks like it will take more than 2 minutes to steal, most of them won't even try. But here's the catch. What works today might not work next year. Just as car manufacturers update their systems, criminal techniques evolve. The real advantage you have isn't just hardware, it's information. Staying ahead means updating your security the way you update your phone, step by step, not once a decade. That's why this channel exists. This isn't just about true crime stories you watch and forget. It's about building a community of people who refuse to be easy targets. Share this video with anyone you know who owns a keyless car. You could literally save them £30,000 or more and months of stress. Drop your car's make and model in the comments, and I'll personally reply with your theft risk level based on the latest police data and intelligence. Hit subscribe and ring the bell, because when I reveal which British police forces are actually taking this seriously and which ones are quietly ignoring the problem, the results will shock you. If this video opened your eyes to organised crime in Britain, watch my investigation into county lines drug networks next. The connections between these worlds will blow your mind. Like this video if you want me to dig deeper into which insurance companies are secretly profiting from this crisis and how they're doing it. Since this video started, around 11 more cars have been stolen in the UK. Don't let yours be the next one. Knowledge is your best defense.